Hi, and welcome to Australian Gamers Friday Night Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight, Sony plays hardball with Kotaku.
Backwards compatibility gimped for the Power PS3.
MMO games pop up everywhere.
I want to talk about the Command & Conquer 3 demo.
And violent video games are not responsible for violent behaviour, but guess what is? Violent.
Violent.
That makes you throw up, yeah.
Nice. I am sweltering here, actually.
Yeah, it's really hot.
It's actually the middle of the day at the moment, and
which is atypical for our podcast.
We actually close all the doors and turn off all the fans, so there's no other sound that can come through, and turn off the air conditioning, and everything's off. So for the next half hour, we just get very, very sweaty. Yeah,
well, Yug will get very, very sweaty. I will be fine, except I will probably be swimming home in Yug's sweat.
So what are we going to talk about first?
I want to start with that one. The violent video games are not responsible for violent behaviour, but guess what is?
What?
The Bible.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with that.
Two recent studies have come out, one of which confirms that violent video games are not responsible for violent behaviour.
Yep.
And it was actually quite a good study. I'll link to it on the front of the site. It's very interesting.
Yep.
Basically, what that particular study shows is that society blames something for violent behaviour.
Always, it has to.
Yeah, whether it's rock music or
devil music, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, rock music, video games,
South
comic
Park,
books,
Marilyn Manson,
movies,
take your pick,
whatever. Yeah, all
Australian
of the above.
Gamer,
Australian Gamer, Yug, specifically. But they call these folk devils. The study called these folk devils. That there's always something to blame, and it's just violent video games at the moment.
Right, it's the latest fad.
But another study showed that when exposed to the number of extremely violent, and let's be honest, Bible passages, violent behaviour actually did increase afterwards. So violent video...
Just hold on. When you say exposed, what exactly does that mean?
Well, they had a guy with passages from the Bible on his penis.
His body.
He was tattooed on his penis, and when he exposed them...
Oh, you're going straight to hell.
Yes.
Anyway. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, so you're saying that after people play Grand Theft Auto, they go home, they're fine, but after they read the Bible, they want to kill someone.
No, that's not really what I'm saying, but I do like the theory.
Yeah.
No, because the number of passages in the Bible that are extremely violent, dashing babies' heads.
Look, Christianity in general, I mean, over the ages has been
history of violence.
History of violence, but I mean, not that I'm begrudging Christianity or anything like that. Far be it from me to do that. I'm not getting that controversial on the podcast.
I am. I so am. And I will stand toe to toe with anyone and argue my beliefs. But anyway, that's not the point.
No.
And I have to say, in its defence, in the defence of Christianity, the Bible, and so on, I think this study is crap as well.
This particular study?
Yeah.
Well, if you think it's crap, then how can you use it as a justification for the violent?
I'm not. I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny that at the same time 2 studies came out, one of which shows that violent video games don't cause violent behaviour, and another one that said the Bible does. I just thought that was
Where the hell are these studies from exactly?
Crazy people. As far as I can tell, it's mostly crazy people. Right. Go to crazypeople.com and you'll see the list of studies they're working on at the moment. No, alright, so let's move on.
Yeah, okay. Right.
What do you want to talk about?
I just want to briefly touch on the fact that the Command & Conquer 3 demo came out in the last week.
Have you been playing that?
Yes, I have. I am a big fan of the series, and I actually got the Supreme Commander demo a little bit earlier. I was really trying to get to that, but it just didn't quite grab me. It was a bit... How do I say this without saying stupid? It was... it was a bit not quite as arcadey as Command & Conquer is.
Right.
It was probably a bit too smart for my liking, for my typical RTS game that I prefer. But anyway, look, just wanted to say, anyone that hasn't downloaded it or is a Command & Conquer fan, they're umming and ahhing. So it's fantastic. It's awesome. The cutscenes are fantastically cheesy. And I mean, my God, it has Billy D. Williams in it. Can it go wrong?
No, certainly nothing that's had Billy D. Williams in it has ever gone wrong.
Ever. He's going to be at Supernova.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's not as hot as Summer Glau.
No, that's true. Anyone in Brisbane, Supernova is on in April, mid-April, and Billy D. Williams will be there in person. And so will we, actually.
And Billy Ray Cyrus.
And Billy Ray Cyrus, right alongside with him. Wow, that's a 1-2. That's a combo if there ever was one.
Yes, definitely.
You can't miss it.
Don't tell his achy, breaky heart.
But anyway, look, I just wanted to say I really, really, really like Command and Conquer 3.
Yeah, no problem.
That's
Fair
it.
enough.
There's not really a news article as per se. But
no.
Yeah.
You know what I've been playing a lot of?
Sonic.
Also that.
Dungeon
I
Siege.
finished that. Dungeon Siege, Throne of...
On the PSP. Just
Throne
for
of
everyone
Agony?
that's
Yeah, on the
confused.
PSP. If you have a PSP, this is definitely one to look out for. It's probably the best game I've played on the PSP.
Really?
Ooh, it's very good.
High
very, very
praise.
fancy. Yeah, I'm very impressed. So you should go out and buy it. Hey, you can't. Anyway.
When does it actually come out?
I can't remember. I meant to look that up, but it's coming out like in 2 weeks or something like that. Soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So next.
Nice plug there. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone go get it. Oh, hold on, you can't. That's very similar to that PlayStation 3, the videos that we put up when we got the imported PlayStation 3.
Oh yeah.
There's one that right at the end you're like, you don't have one, and all the comments that were actually made on that YouTube video were just very, very aggressive towards you.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see those.
As in,
I saw some of the earlier ones.
As in, like, you bastard, we hate you, sort of. You know, you have your own little anti-fan following there.
Awesome. That's so much better than having groupies. I'd much rather a bunch of men who hate me than a bunch of women who love me any day.
Hey, that's fine. You take the men that hate you, and then I'll take the women.
I'll take the women that hate you.
I'm fine with that deal as well. Really.
All right.
It's a big group, actually, but anyway. Okay, we're going backwards here.
No. Isn't it that all the women like you as a friend? I have the same problem, so that doesn't really work out.
I'd say it's equal friend-hate sort of thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sony's playing hardball with Kotaku. That's
just explain it for those that don't know what Kotaku
hardball is from...
No.
Kotaku is a gaming blog. It's one of the better ones, actually, both in that it's been around for quite a while.
Kotaku.com?
Kotaku.com.
Okay.
Kotaku. It's Japanese. It has a very, very Japanese feel. It's based in Japan. I think half their reviewers are in Japan, half are in the US. I'm not sure about that. I'm actually making it up.
Right.
But they tend towards the strange news, the interesting news, and a surprisingly high level of journalistic integrity as well.
Okay.
I really like Kotaku. I always have. But
yep.
They basically found some interesting news from the Game Developers Conference, which is coming up next week. And
yeah,
it basically,
I think it starts tomorrow.
Does it?
Okay. Or Sunday, I think.
So the Game Developers Conference has some interesting things coming out from Sony, apparently, about their online system. They're adding some exciting new features and blah, blah, blah.
As in they're adding one. Fantastic.
Yeah, and apparently it's going to be very good and very fancy and has lots of features that I really don't give a crap about myself, but Sony do give a crap.
And so do the other people that play consoles online.
And Sony were very unhappy when they found out that Kotaku had this rumour and asked them not to print it. And Kotaku said, we are going to print it. And Sony said, no, you are not. And then said, in fact, if you do, the interviews we have scheduled for the Game Developers Conference that we have you scheduled in for, all the exclusives we've given you for the GDC, and your access to a PlayStation 3 debug machine will be revoked.
Tell me that. So they obviously printed it.
So they printed it.
And printed that threat.
And printed the threat.
Makes you wonder now what I'd imagine their relationship with Sony right now wouldn't be the best.
Their relationship with Sony immediately afterwards, they got an email basically from Sony, from the I can't remember the guy's
someone
name,
else
but someone at Sony
saying sorry.
Saying you're out. You know, I'm sorry to have to do this, but you're out. We need people to.
To what?
To build a relationship, that kind of thing. It was very, we have a relationship, blah, blah, blah. We can't work with people who can't work with us, blah, blah, blah. And the Kotaku, the head of Kotaku, goddamn, I can't remember his name now either.
Yeah.
Someone from Kotaku.
Someone from Kotaku. One of the people from Japan or the US, surely.
I think it was a US guy, actually. He basically replied saying, I'm sorry to hear that, but this is the difference between a gaming journalist and a PR guy. Our responsibility is to provide news and, reviews and rumours. And your responsibility is to toe your company policy. And, they have actually had a big phone call since, and they have worked it out. They have agreed to disagree on some issues, but Sony are talking to them again and so on. But
what's your take on this?
I think Sony's behaviour is utterly appalling.
Yep.
And Game Politics had an interesting coverage of it too, where they basically said that the problem is that Sony seems to only want people who are willing to regurgitate press releases.
Yeah.
That's not what gaming journalism is all about. People publish rumours all the time in mainstream and gaming journalism. You can't just say you're not following our policies, therefore you're out.
See, I've heard this happen a couple of times, and recently even, sort of thing. It's like, is there a point where, if a rumour is said to be not true or is asked to be taken down, should it be?
Well, my opinion is people should be able to report on whatever the hell they want.
Yep.
And it's the responsibility of the company.
Yep.
When asked, Sony, for example, when asked to simply say, we do not report on rumours.
Or speculate on rumours, yeah.
Yeah, which is the official company policy and doesn't give too much away. It's just...
Which tends to be, I think, Microsoft always has that stance whenever
everyone has
rumours.
That stance. That's pretty standard for rumours.
Fair enough, yep.
No company ever reports on rumours. They never go, yeah, it's true, damn it.
Yep.
But yeah, you can't blame Kotaku for the way they've handled it. You can blame Sony for the way they've handled it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yep.
But they seem to have come to the party a little bit more and kind of sucked it up a bit.
They kind of have to, because
what do they do? Like, everyone who reports on a Sony rumour gets, blackballed? What?
Yeah, well,
not going to get a whole lot of coverage.
Yeah. It's...
Not to mention in PR terms.
Is it? Am I the only one that just isn't all that surprised by Sony's attitude and response?
They've always been the 100-pound gorilla.
But
100 pounds is very small.
Is it?
That's like a chimpanzee. So
I'm
100
sure.
pounds
Why
is
by
quite
pounds?
small.
Can't you say kilograms? How?
No, it's a phrase, 1,000-pound gorilla, I think it is, or 100-ton gorilla, something like that. It indicates a big one.
Right.
A big, clumsy, brutish.
Right. That's fat. A big, fat, clumsy gorilla.
I think we get it now.
Okay.
Yeah. But not something that's going to react with
speed and precision and
caution and consideration.
So
and
what
so
you're
on.
saying is that Sony just need a couple of bananas.
That was exactly what I was saying.
Excellent.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Sony need bananas.
Good. Well, while we're on the topic of the PlayStation 3, let's and like I do just want to point out that I think in the last couple of months, even though there have been so many things that have gone wrong and so many things that have been said which have just been utterly disgraceful, I'm more excited about the PlayStation 3 now than I ever have been before.
Yeah, no, same.
But this latest thing, the backwards compatibility for the Power PlayStation 3.
Yeah, the PlayStation 3 always did emulate using hardware. The original PlayStation, we talked about this last week, the original PlayStation used a PlayStation...
Yep.
So the original PlayStation 2 used...
a hardware emulation to emulate the PlayStation games.
The PlayStation 2 used the PlayStation 1 CPU as its I/O controller and therefore was full hardware emulation. Well, not even emulation. Emulation is when you pretend to be something. It just was one.
Okay.
But the PlayStation 3 has a dedicated chip to emulate.
Yep.
The
PlayStation 2 games.
The PlayStation 2 games.
Yep.
Now they've removed that chip. The PlayStation
they've removed it for
3
the
PAL version, and I believe subsequent makings of the PlayStation 3 for NTSC will also not have that hardware.
Is there any
software
explanation of why?
Cost cutting. One less chip. One less. $5 less.
Now, what does that realistically mean? I mean, because...
Well, that's inevitable. People don't seem to realise, but what they do with any original generation of a machine is they make it, then bit by bit, they try to make it cheaper and cheaper. Yeah. Part of that is that as they get more and more parts, like as they've got bigger and bigger orders,
cheaper and different.
Become cheaper. But part of it is just streamlining their processes, streamlining their hardware, and going, okay, you know what? No one ever used this output. You know what? we don't need 2 of these, we only need 1 of these.
I do distinctly remember with the Xbox. I
was just going to say the Xbox had quite a high profile in terms of doing that.
It did, yeah. Like the CD-ROM drives were different.
Yeah.
The DVD-ROM drives were different, and the lenses were different, and all these kind of things. And
sometimes it was to fix bugs. They had a few bugs in the
but I remember reading around. There's like a version 1, version 1.1, version 1.2.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. That's pretty common, and the PlayStation did the same thing. There were quite a lot of different.
But you never really think about it much because it's like they still all play the game the same.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just that they've found a different source for this part. It's a little bit cheaper.
Yep.
And this part, they've decided to eliminate, or they've added it into this feature, or that kind of stuff. And that's just the way things go. I mean, we've always known that the PlayStation 3 costs more to make than it costs than they make out of it.
Indeed.
They don't make a profit. Basically, what they're doing is trying to reduce their losses.
The main question I've got is, what does this actually mean? Because if it's just software emulation, does that really matter? I mean, what's that do?
I have a couple of opinions on this. I'm of a mixed opinion.
Yep.
On one side, you could say fairly effectively that it's not fair, that blah blah blah, it won't do backwards compatibility as well.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is I don't really care. I'm not buying a PlayStation 3 to play PlayStation 2 games.
I brought this up on the forum the other day, though, and the response from a few people was, well, actually, yeah, we do, because we get the new console at launch, only get 1 or 2 games, and I've got a backlog of games which are still
when
playing.
Some of the games that still can't come out, like, Final Fantasy 12 has come out quite recently.
Yeah. Or God of War 2 or stuff like that.
Or God of War 2, exactly. There's still some good high-profile games coming out for the PlayStation 3. That being said, though, a lot of the people who buy a PlayStation 3 already have a PlayStation 2.
True.
But regardless, that's not my point.
Yeah, okay,
There is another side of things, which is that Sony made a really, really big deal about their backward compatibility and the fact that it was hardware by comparison to...
Because their 360s are software.
Now all of a sudden they have to suck it up and apologise for the fact that they made... Or basically just reverse their stance and say, backward compatibility isn't a big deal. It was a big deal when we were picking on Microsoft about it, but now it's not.
Yeah, but that's a... Yeah, I know.
Well, they should have shut up then, shouldn't they?
Well, no, because they probably... it was something they followed through with. It wasn't exactly... It's not like Vista. It's not like a feature that they said was going to be in it and then pull it at the last minute or something like that.
No, but they've basically taken shots at Microsoft going, our backward compatibility is hardware.
Yeah.
We don't do that. Suck you, backward compatibility.
But I guess that's the thing. I mean, I don't know that much about the emulation in consoles. All I know is that the 360, there are some games on the Xbox that the 360 can't play because the emulation doesn't support it.
Yeah, and it'll be the same.
So this means on the PlayStation 3, there's going to be some games that aren't supported.
Yeah, there's a list. They're basically going for full software emulation of higher profile titles.
Yeah, well, which makes sense, I guess.
What proportion, I'm not sure. We'll probably find it's got to be more than half. It's got to be quite a few of them.
I suppose for you and me, I guess it doesn't really bother me because the backwards compatibility has never been a big deal to me just because...
Well, I mean, the thing to me is that PlayStation 2 titles are completely compatible on the PlayStation 2, so we'll just use one of them.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I know it's a big deal for some other people, but I guess
my problem is not with the actual.
Your problem is more with the attitude.
The attitude they had and the way they handled it and the way they made such a big point of it, and then have had to back down.
Yeah, it does suck as well. It does suck that I think They did it for the NTSC and they've pulled it for the PAL version.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's just, while they're releasing another version, they figured they might as well.
Might as well just drop that for everywhere else as well.
Yeah, so...
Alright, fair enough.
That's life, Yeah. MMO games.
MMO games
seem to be...
everywhere.
They seem to be popping up left, right and centre.
Why not? I mean, even if you only get a couple of hundred people on it, you've got a... residual income for a long time. I mean...
Yeah, but they cost an awful lot to make.
Do they?
They're very expensive. RPGs in general are very expensive, but MMOs are even more expensive because of the server architectures and the networking and all that kind of stuff. They're not a cheap game to make. They take years. I mean, I think... I can't remember how long it took World of Warcraft. I think it was either 5 or 7 years. It was a long time.
In the same respect, though, that's Blizzard. and they are very, very, very fickle and
but
a perfectionist company.
But I think EverQuest took years as well.
I don't know.
They just do take a long
don't
time.
know the technicality.
Ultima Online, I think, took about 5 to 7 years as well.
Okay.
Like, it does take a long time to make them.
I suppose that's probably why it feels like there's so many, because there's quite a few that are.
Well, and I think the other thing. I think the other thing is that World of Warcraft has been unreasonably successful for a while now.
Yeah.
Like when a new type of, like Grand Theft Auto, for example, when Grand Theft Auto came out, it didn't take long for people to start copying it because
because it did so well.
And because it doesn't take as long to make that kind of game, so people were able to go, let's make our previously one type of game, we'll make it one of them now.
Yep.
You know?
Just change it into that style.
Yeah, we'll just change it into that style, make it a bit more urban, and Bob's your uncle.
Peter
that's the game.
Guy,
Uncle Bob.
Actually, I don't have an Uncle Bob, but thanks anyway.
Yes,
yeah. So the one that you're keen about is.
I'm not actually. You know what? I am kind of interested. The one that's been recently announced is Warhammer 40k. If you don't know much about Warhammer 40k, it's the nerdiest thing in the world. It's so nerdy that even I shy away from it.
You know, I don't know if... I actually wouldn't call it nerdy. I mean, you have these tiny little figurines...
Geeky.
And you paint them. But why is that nerdy? Like,
and then you play a tabletop RPG with dice with them, dude.
It's
Seriously.
The same as kids getting figurines as toys and going out and playing soldiers and...
no, it's
whatever
so
and stuff
not
like
because
that.
there's no dice. It's the dice. The dice are the trigger.
It just regulates the movements instead of you just like
you're
throwing
so
it from tree to
defending
tree.
it right now.
I am, even though I never really played it. I'd never quite understood why it was considered so geeky. Now, there's a difference between like a full RPG.
I'll give you the reason
sort of
it's considered so geeky.
Yep, go for it.
What's the name of the store that sells those things?
Games Wizards.
Games Workshop.
Game Workshop, yep.
Go to a Games Workshop.
Yes.
And look inside. That's why it's considered so geeky.
Yeah.
Look at those people.
Yeah, okay.
The people from EB Games go and beat those people up. I mean, really. They're shocking. My ex-wife was actually right into them.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
She was a big fan. And
were you right into them?
After we broke up, I bought her a battle set of them as a parting gift sort of thing. Yeah, we actually got on better after we broke up than we did before. It's
funny that.
One of those things. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting parallels actually I find with Warhammer 40k in that it's pretty much StarCraft. The races, the classes, they're pretty much StarCraft.
Yes.
The Marines are Marines.
Yeah.
The Zerg are the Tyranids.
Yeah.
And the Eldar are...
The Protoss.
The Protoss. And they're almost exactly the same.
I actually, I can see that, but in the same respect as someone who loves StarCraft, it's not the same.
No, of course it's not the same. There's more to StarCraft than that.
Yeah.
My point is the balance is the same and that could make for a very interesting dynamic in a universe in an MMO RPG.
It would be, I'll pay
because
that.
When you look at something like... World of Warcraft that has the two factions. Yep. Having a third faction could be very interesting, especially if they're so distinctly different. Like
most MMOs tend to have only two factions, don't they? Like the good and the evil.
The good and the evil, yes. So having a universe based around three could make for a very interesting dynamic, especially if there's the capability of alliances between two of them.
Yeah. Do you know much about the game?
No, nothing has really been announced except for the fact that they're making one.
Right.
This is pretty standard for MMORPGs at the moment. There's always a lot of this exciting new license they're making an MMORPG of.
Yeah.
Firefly being a good example. But it will take a couple of years before we really start seeing.
Of course.
But I'm actually interested because you look at something like World of Warcraft and it's all very fancy and pretty and so on. Shiny. You look at something like StarCraft.
Yes.
World of StarCraft would be interesting. I think we can all agree. That would be kind of funky.
That would be cool.
But Warhammer is dirty. Warhammer is really, like its styling, its graphical, like its look is quite a gritty, harsh, brutal one, and I think that would make a really nice RPG.
There was a Warhammer game that came out.
There's been a couple. There was Warhammer. There's been a couple.
Crusade. No,
I know the one you're thinking of. It came out a little while ago.
Yeah.
I don't think we reviewed it. I'm not quite sure.
No.
But yeah, there have been a couple come out. There's been a few different Warhammer 40k games right back to the PlayStation. So
I guess I've never really looked into it because I know the tabletop series, and I think I don't know. Just kind of looked. It always struck me as kind of generic, which is kind of weird because considering that I'd imagine that it's been around for a lot longer than most of the games that I've played, which are taking it off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Still, yeah. I used to have a couple of figurines. I basically just in an effort to join in, I bought a couple. I had some Tyranids
to fit in.
To fit in, I had a couple of Tyranids, and so I actually quite like the Tyranid.
I will admit,
squads.
So did I. I actually, but not the Warhammer one, the space one. I can't remember what it was called, but I had some of the...
I think you're just wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Because Warhammer is two things. There's Warhammer and Warhammer 40k.
Okay.
And I think you might be confusing them because Warhammer 40k is the space one. Warhammer...
It was only spaceships in this one.
Oh, I think I get what you mean.
Yeah, and I played it, the ones I had with Dark Elder or something like that.
Right. I know what you mean now. That it's called Warhammer 40k Fleet or something. Someone in the forums will be geeky enough to tell us.
It didn't have Warhammer anything in it, but I'd imagine it was set in the same universe because it was the same character.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I just thought the ships were cool. And I got some because I had some mates at the time that were really into it, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get into this. And I got all my ships sort of thing. It was like, yeah. And I painted one. I half painted one of them, and then got bored.
Nice.
So, but I tried. I put some effort
valiant effort. Yeah. I painted mine up, and I had quite a lot of fun doing it. And I actually sharpened mine had claws, and I actually sharpened the claws enough that they would draw blood. They would draw blood. They were very sharp.
So, if you were playing against someone that was really annoying, you could just pick up your figurine and just slash them.
Slash them.
Good.
And cool. Death by Tyrannid.
Yeah. See, so it's not video games that promotes violence.
No,
it's Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Actually.
Tabletop RPGs.
Tabletop RPGs.
Is it an RPG?
RPG.
No, it's really not.
Isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
No, not really, because you're not playing a role. The point of an RPG is
a tabletop role. PG.
Playing game.
Yes.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, yeah, I think that's all we got to talk about today. I did just want to say that I do apologise for not a lot of action happening in the World of Warcraft Australian Gamer Guild at the moment.
Yeah, same here. I'm still having hhardware issues.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get them sorted out now. I miss World of Warcraft and I want to get back into playing.
Yeah, look, I just reinstalled Vista on my machine, which I would highly... even though Samo has talked it up quite a bit, I've had nothing but problems with my legitimately purchased version, as in it's the Windows Vista Ultimate.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And it's not pirated or anything like that. It's fully legit, and I've had to reinstall it twice, and it now takes about 5 minutes to boot up. Games are slower. Everything's just... I'm just not happy.
Is there, apart from the fact that it's kind of shiny,
yes.
Is there any actual advantages? Is there anything good that it's a pity that it doesn't work because you'll miss blah?
Put it this way, if something else screws up in this thing right now, for the first time ever, I'm going to uninstall it and reinstall Windows XP. I'm that frustrated with it. I really am. And I even went and bought an extra gig of RAM for it as well.
Can I have that?
No.
Oh.
No, you cannot.
Well, fair enough then.
So yeah, anyway, I'm back in there, and I can, if there's anyone waiting to be added to the guild, hit me up.
I've got someone who wants to join as well.
Good. I should try and organise, say I'll be online between these times and stuff like that, so anyone wants to join.
Once
we all get up a bit higher, it will be a lot more active, I'm sure. And once Matt gets back online as well. So.
Yeah. Rather than just taking the guild mastery and then just buggering off altogether.
Good work.
Look,
hey, Matt, you're the guild master. Hey, all right. I'm not going to play again. Lists you as 25 days not played at the moment.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow, I didn't realise it was that long.
I know.
Yeah, my hard drive died just after that, so I have to figure out what the hell's going on. I think it might be my motherboard itself is dead, which makes me angry.
How fun.
Oh yeah, very happy about that, because replacing a motherboard is not at all a tedious process.
No.
Especially with the number of custom crap I've got on mine.
It's a piece of cake.
I've got special fans that I've had bought from the US and stuff. It's just going to be a nightmare. Really looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Makes me angry. Makes me Makes me angry.
Is there anything else to talk about or mention or discuss?
No.
I finally got those post of the month things sorted.
Sweet.
So we're going to March one as well, which we're actually giving away that thing over there. On the ground, the bag.
The bag. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Cause it's
that's pretty cool.
Supreme Commander bag.
Nice. Yeah. Supreme Commander bag.
So, people in the forums, you can win.
Oh, that's pretty tragic, dude. That is just Shh. That's really good. That's very good. It's a great Supreme Commander bag, that one.
Yeah, well, don't worry. Anyway.
Alright, we're going to bugger off now.
And put the air conditioning back on.
Put the air conditioning back on.
I'll drink a litre of water to replenish what I've sweated out.
He's actually wet. His shirt is actually wet. It's terrifying.
My fingers are actually pruned.
Oh no, that's so wrong. Alright, we'll see you guys later.
Cheers.
Talk to you next Friday.
Cheers.
Bye.